Hello everyone, Michael from Soaring Heart Studios at soaringheartstudios.net. Today we are dyeing fabric for the um, sunflower summer quilt, so you can dye your own to duplicate my patterns. Today we're out in my garage. You just heard a car pass by, um, and you can find most of the instructions of what I'm doing, and I will go over it again in the basic dye video that is also on my site here. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with about 3 cups of hot water in my blender. Okay, and then we're going to add some water softener, and I get half a teaspoon of water softener. And then we're going to use urea. And actually, I want a teaspoon, a heaping teaspoon of urea. And then we're going to dissolve those with short pulses. One more. Yep, so there we've got that dissolved. And today, for the sunflower, you are going to use bright yellow, and it is number 2 bright yellow from Dharma Trading Company. And then we're going to do a neat little technique with Brazil nut that I'll also show you. So let's start with our bright yellow. I'm only doing what, maybe 1/4 to 1/3 of a yard of fabric. So I'm going to do a teaspoon of the yellow, and notice that I'm putting it down in there before I drop it so I don't get powder everywhere, and I actually don't want to get powder airborne. And we are putting our tops on as quickly as possible, also to keep that dye powder from getting airborne. So we've got that in there, and I'm going to give this another little spritz to dissolve that. Looking at the amount of fabric I have, this is probably going to be just enough dye. I don't need to add any more water or get the liquid up any further. Now let me show you what I've done with the fabric that makes the interesting pattern. What I have here is a bus tub. These are absolutely wonderful for dyeing. You can get these at any restaurant supply store. I think I've got probably 6 or 9 of them. I had a friend who used to go there regularly, and I kept going, pick me up 3, pick me up 3. So what I've done is crunched the fabric up in the bottom, and the way I've done that is just to lay it there and then just gently just kind of gather it up together all the way along until I've got all these great little ridges going on. So let's take our yellow dye, and I'm actually going to not pour it over the fabric. I'm going to pour it into the tub itself, or the bus pan, and let it kind of wick up into it from the bottom. And of course I can bring it down a little bit more and kind of make sure it's wet. I did do a little bit of spritzing of the fabric with the soda ash water that I've put in a spray bottle, just to get a little damp so it actually lays a little bit better and I can get more curves in it when it's wet. Also, it gave me a chance to straighten out the edges, because when you wash the fabric, it it bunches up on the edges, on the outsides. And of course, any of those ridges that are left in there will create a pattern. Just drop my glove. And of course, I always forget to put my gloves on. However, I see some stuff sticking up that I want to kind of get down into the dye. I also, like I said, I want to make sure the dye is kind of getting over most of the fabric. It's actually not completely wicked up into the fabric yet. But like I said, the fabric is damp. And the reason we want the fabric damp is for this next little trick I'm going to show you. So what I have here is a little tea strainer or strainer. It's a very fine mesh strainer. And I've got that over a little pot. Okay. And then I'm taking number 116 Brazil nut from Dharma Trading Company. And let's see here. I'm going to get out my measuring spoon again. I'll get about a half a teaspoon out and gently place it into that sieve. And the reason I put it over a cup is because when I put it in there, some of it automatically is going to go through the sieve and down into the cup, and I'll be able to gather that and put it back into the pot. So now what I'm going to do is gently pick it up with the dye inside, as you can see there. And then I'm just going to lightly tap it. Think of dusting a cake, dusting donuts with powdered sugar. This is basically the same thing. And what I'm doing is I'm just going over it. And like I said, just gently dusting it until I get an even coverage. And anybody who's done ice dyeing, this is kind of similar. The dye is going to dissolve on top of the fabric, and as it dissolves or gets wet, gravity is going to take over and start pulling it down into all those valleys we created. And also, another cool thing happens is, just about every single dye, with the exception of the big three, the yellow, the blue, and the red. It should be. I don't know if it really holds true with Dharma Trading Company, but it's a mixture. This is a mixture of those three dyes in different increments along with black to create a color. So by just sprinkling this on top, just as you see the dye and the different colors come out when you're ice dyeing, the same thing will happen here. So I'm going to gently put this back into the cup. Notice I'm holding it way away from my face. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to make those little particles airborne, and I don't want to do that, or as little as possible. So I've got that in there. I want to get the top on as quickly as possible again. And of course, I spilled, but never fear. I have a wet rag that I can lay on top of that and quickly capture that before it blows away or gets anywhere else. Another good thing to do is to wipe down your entire work surface when you're done, because that powder will go everywhere. Okay, so what we have here is the powder sitting on top, the yellow dye coming up from the bottom. I may have gotten a little bit heavy with this brown. We'll see when I actually wash it and everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit, like I said, for about 18 to 20 hours. When I get up tomorrow morning, I'll throw it in the washing machine. I will do a rinse spin, and then I'll put it through a full rinse cycle with that product, because I can't remember the name of it, as I couldn't remember the name of it in the last video. So I will show you pictures of this tomorrow, and also you saw the quilt that we're actually dyeing this for, so you can dye it yourself. I hope to have kits available so that you can just buy this if you don't want to dye it yourself. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure and leave them on the website. And once again, that is SoaringHeartStudio.net. Hope to talk to you soon. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, this is the result of the dyeing we did for the Sunflower Summer. And I'm going to pull this across here so you can see how the pattern changed. I was a little heavy-handed with the, I think it was Brazil nut that we used. A little heavy-handed there, but you can see how, remember we keep talking about the dyes are made up of lots of different colors. And this is, I mean, look at this right there. Look at, I mean, you can see there's blue in there, there's some orange, there's some yellow. that's just a dot in there. I mean, it's just beautiful. I think this is absolutely gorgeous, and I wouldn't have any problems using this at all for the patterns. Now, this is the pattern pieces I used. I cut them out of old cards. Um, it was a nice stock for outlining everything. And of course, you would use these to trace onto your fuse, and then you would lay your fuse over this. I loosely cut out all my leaves so that I could go through and pick exactly which ones I wanted in what location, so I can get that dark brown to run right down the center of the leaf. Now, these are our outside leaves, and typically I did those in a lighter yellow, and then did the last set, the shorter leaves, the short fat leaves, as the ones that I would use out of this fabric. So once again, I would take this and line it up, with each one of these patterns. But there's no reason the lighter colors. I mean, look, we got this back here. This is a nice medium. It's not as dark. I'd rather use something really, really bright in the background as the first round of petals. But there's no reason you couldn't use this as the second. I mean, you can get leaves all through here. What do we got down here? I mean, here's some beautiful the brighter ones you can use in there while cutting these out of here, or even run that one there. And you can get another one down here out of it. Typically, I do this 17 inches wide, and that's what's going to be included in the kits that we're going to hopefully produce, so that you can get two leaves right across from each other without worrying about fitting, or even two of these across from one another. So this is the result that you get from doing that technique. And like I said, hopefully we'll have yardage of this in the kits, and the kits will be available soon. So hope you enjoyed seeing the results. If you have any questions on anything, please don't hesitate to send me an email through my website at www.soaringheartstudio.net. And I look forward to hearing from you. Hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.